Within a hospitality venue, we really emphasise the process of storytelling, but also the transference of storytelling into ambient experience. Lighting, mood, story, the material, the texture, the kind of whole poetry of the space. Within the coffee house, it's no different. There is an ambient, acoustic, sensory difference that takes place when you move from the street to inside the tenancy. It's kind of noticeable. It's quite tactile. My name is Jeremy Bull. I'm the principal of Alexandria & Co, and I worked on the creative positioning of Genovese Coffee House. Alexandria is in Sydney. It's an emerging suburb. This site is an old industrial shell as part of many usages that used to exist within this area. The brief was for a fit out. What we then did was give Adam more than a fit-out strategy. What we gave him was a kind of brand strategy and a positioning strategy so that he could bring his company to Sydney and give it an identity. So a lot of the initial consultation with Adam was just about getting to know him and the story of origin of Genovese.
My name is Adam Genovese. I am the Managing Director of our family coffee roasting business, and I oversaw the Genovese Coffee House project from conception right till our opening and beyond. The family moved to Australia in 1950. After the war, my grandfather decided that Melbourne was the place that he'd like to be. He actually became involved in coffee working for an Italian food importer and then opened their roasting business. Our brand began in 1970 and I'm now the third generation working in the business.
If I think about Genovese as a floor plan, as I come in front of me, there is a ribbon of benches which are all slightly varied, and right in front of that main entry is a coffee roaster, which is a big vertically present red coffee roaster. And the point of that roaster and the positioning of it was really just to leave no ambiguity what we were here to do. The spaces which are dedicated to non-food retail, they sit directly to the right as I enter. All of the different training facility, entertaining, what we call the family table. And the left portion of the venue is really dressed up like a cafe. So it's got really traditional bentwoods, beautiful kind of muraling and scale. And it's our moment to say that we can be a cafe too within this training facility.
Alexandria & Co were on my radar really from the beginning, and it was a match made in heaven. They'd pick your brain and work with you and understand what your vision is, where you've come from and what you want to achieve.
We started looking at this building as being more like a streetscape, and we sort of acknowledged that although Alexandria couldn't give us Italy, maybe within this building we could give ourselves an Italian streetscape. Hospitality projects have a really specific role that they play, and when a patron enters, they, when done well, really can put down the outside world.
The idea was always to launch a retail coffee experience in Sydney. From the moment I saw this space, it appealed to me because of the large open roofed area. I knew that we could do the many elements of what we needed to do to build our coffee experience.
I think where the project gets interesting is where we take the contemporary, the Richard Serra, and we mix it up with the family of origin and the traditional, like the arched Italian architecture with the keystone, and we bring those two pieces together. What you end up getting is this sort of interesting variety of cues which feel familiar and cues which feel less familiar. It's both mid-century but also almost classic. It's got texture and also contemporality. It's maybe one of the things which makes this unique and kind of interesting as a patron, something that doesn't feel so familiar but also doesn't feel foreign.
The design elements that we love are the ones that have been custom made for us, like the big ceiling high curtains that absorb the sound and make it feel warm and cozy to stay in. The lights that were custom made. Every element has a different texture, a different colour, and it really does make it feel like you're moving through an experience. The antique coffee equipment is something that our family has loved collecting for many, many years. We have probably over 1,000 pieces, and we curated some of our best to showcase here in the coffee house. I'm proud of the fact that we've been able to open our first hospitality venue as a coffee roasting business. My favourite part of the project is the stand-up espresso bar. The experience of buying a coffee in Italy for €1 at the bar is something that I've always loved when I've visited, and I wanted to bring that to our clients here. We have so many guests and people that come in to try coffee, and 3 hours later they'll say, we actually came here for a quick coffee and we never want to leave. Like, it's so inviting and so warm, and the atmosphere makes us want to stay.